Welcome, everyone, to the 14th episode of the Boss Key Podcast. I am your co host, McQuack306, joined as always with Jebby G.
Uh, yep, Jebby G, Jesse Fergoso. How's everyone doing this morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time you're listening to this podcast? Great to be with you guys again. Big McQuack, how you doing today?
I'm good, I'm good. I enjoyed that extra hour that we're allowed
Oh my,
now.
oh my God, yes! That hour back, I woke up at 6:45, which is normally 7:45, and then normally would have been 7:45, and I'm like awake, but then I realized, I can stay in bed for an hour. I can stay in bed for an hour more. But then I end up not wanting to stay in bed for an hour more. I end up just wanting to wake up like right away. So it's gonna take a little bit getting used to. I am not going to enjoy the pitch darkness that's now gonna be at 5 now.
Oh, from work?
Yes. Now every time I get out of work, it's gonna be dark. It's gonna be sundown already, which I know it's supposed to happen, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it getting dark really early. That's just my personal preference.
I'm out at 6, so yeah, it'll definitely be pitch dark, and I just don't like that.
Yep.
It's just weird,
Day,
but.
days are going away now.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed it because last night I was able to complete Guardians of the Galaxy. I was playing till what was it? It was like 2 o'clock, and then it changed to 1 o'clock, and then I'm like, okay, so I'm still good. I'm good. And I kept playing it, and I think I finished it like around 2, or quote unquote 3 o'clock, but I finished it like around 2 again. Um,
Hmm.
so that's I needed that extra hour. I enjoyed that game. That game
There
was
you go, man.
that's what I've been recently playing is Forza 5, but mainly it was
Mhm.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I wanted to finish it this week, to give it its due diligence, and such an amazing game. It was
Nice.
it was a big surprise for me. I didn't expect to enjoy it. I saw all these reviews. Well, beforehand when they showed it off, I was like, whatever. I was like,
Hmm.
it's another Marvel game that's trying to capitalize on the films, and with how Avengers was, I was like, Square Enix. I don't know if they're gonna be able to publish another good Marvel game because Avengers wasn't that great. And
Hmm.
love the story, love the characters. It gets super emotional, um, like around chapter 12. So I was like really surprised. A lot of character depth, a lot of just good storytelling is how I can sell Guardians of the Galaxy. And combat is really good too. It's very
Nice.
fast
Nice.
paced. It's very fluid. You're able to use the Guardians, their abilities. So they're you press L1 or left bumper on Xbox, and the face buttons each pertain to a different Guardian. So like Groot's
There you go.
able to hold down enemies with his roots, and Rocket just throws out explosives. So I think I talked a little bit about it last week, but this week
Mhm.
finishing it, it's a great game. I think I just top of my head final score, I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. Um,
Nice. Really good.
it's really good. It took me about I'd say 18 20 hours to finish.
Okay.
I might go for the platinum, just because there's only like 7 trophies I have left, and
Good. You might as well. It's
yeah,
like
and
right there.
yeah, one of them kind of got me mad just because it was a story trophy where you had to decide something. So I was like, I have to go back and decide the opposite. But everything else is gameplay style. It's like, oh, kill 10 enemies using this, or you kill 5 enemies doing this. So I mean, I might just do it. So
Does does Guardians of the Galaxy have a multiplayer component or no?
no, it's all single.
Doesn't.
Yeah, it's just a single
See,
player narrative focused game.
See, that's good because usually when you're trying to get the complete trophy collection or you're trying to get a platinum or all the Xbox achievements, sometimes when it has a multiplayer component and then it adds like the multiplayer one where you have to get 500 wins or you have to use every weapon in multiplayer,
Yeah.
that's when to me the trophies start getting like, oh.
kill 10
it
enemies
becomes,
with this weapon or something like
yeah,
that.
dude, that's when it gets worse for me for trophies. At least in my opinion. Like if it stays like the whole single player experience, great. But unless you're really already into the multiplayer trophies are the hard ones. I remember Gears, you had to like get like a highest grade with like a certain weapon, and you have to get 10,000 kills this, or in Mortal Kombat's case, you had to perfect every character, and then you have to do 20 things with each character. I was like, oh my god, you're time sinking the hell out of this.
Yeah, Gears is notorious for those like just long achievement lists. Like it's just what are they called? Like Epic 3.0 or something like that. Epic 4.0, where you just it's like brutal. Like spend like you have to like upgrade or up level like I don't know how many times, 15, 20 times, and you have to kill like 1,000 enemies or something like that. Win 1,000 rounds of multiplayer, complete 10,000 multiplayer matches, something absurd like that.
Yeah, I'm actually like looking it up now to see if it has it. Like there was okay. There's nothing like I remember like dang an achievement right here like complete all 50 ways of horde on any of the forces of nature maps. And I remember you're right, it was like something point oh that basically like you had to do everything so perfect, like you had to like accomplish everything in the world
Mhm.
to get this one achievement. And if you are an achievement hoarder, oh, it's just gonna make you. It just makes you. I mean, I like it for the standpoint of extending gameplay time. Yeah, you're gonna spend more time on this game. You're gonna get your money's worth if you
Yeah.
keep going. But for some people, like man, you're gonna be on this game
Oh,
forever.
that's what
Like
it's
this.
called. Seriously,
Yeah.
it's called seriously.
Seriously.
Seriously
So
3.0,
seriously.
seriously 4.0.
Yeah, every
Uh,
game I bet has a seriously, like a seriously 2.0. It probably started with the first one, seriously, and then seriously 2.0 for 2.
yeah, it's one of them. For I'm looking at Gears 5, and it's seriously 5.0 Chapter 2, and it just
There it
says
is.
50 re-ups, inconceivable campaign, master all hives and horde maps, all classes at level 20. So it's and only 0.01% of gamers have unlocked this, and for me, I'm 2% done with completing this. So it's definitely yeah. Those are
Yeah.
the multiplayer and the achievements and trophies tied to multiplayer. Those I think are the ones that kill me. That I'm just like nah. But with this one, it's only like 7 of them that I can go back and I can actually go back to each chapter.
Yeah.
Depending on what I needed to do, so it's like I need to collect the collectibles and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I mean, I might go back. It's a fun game. Like I said, I think it's definitely one of those to look out for this holiday if you see it on a Black Friday sale.
Grab it, grab it, grab it.
I got the $80 deluxe edition. But if
Mm.
you see it, maybe you're not so into single player, but I mean 40-30 bucks. I mean it's a good game, man. I'm happy with what I paid for it on that one.
Grab it. So
What
basically, grab it.
yeah.
Grab it is what you're saying.
What have you been
Nice.
playing?
So right now, I just replugged in my PC and everything, and I actually went back to Catherine, if everyone remembers that game.
I love
We
Catherine.
mentioned it before. My goodness, Catherine, it's something different. So everyone who's heard me in the podcast, yes, I've been talking about a lot of actiony games and a lot of shooting games and a lot of like all these other worldly things that have happened and gratuitous like violence and everything. Catherine does have gratuitous violence if you die. Like it will if you die in that game it has violence, but that's not the super main point of the game. So I went back into Catherine, and my goodness, do I love my Series X and my Xbox controller, because I can plug in my Series X controller with my Samsung charging cable. I actually plug in my controller into my computer with the charging cable. So, like, my God, Xbox controllers, just, of course, are both Microsoft. I know, but that's just perfect. So I can play Catherine with my Xbox Series X controller. Um, my goodness, what an amazing just sitting there. listening to the stories of the people you're talking to at the bar, their relationship advice, and then the puzzles. Yes, the puzzles are great because the puzzles I just love with moving around the blocks to the shapes to keep climbing, and how much harder it gets because some of the blocks turn into like the solid blocks that
Yeah.
become harder to move. And then at some point you're all like, wait, what do you mean I can't go here? And then like it involves a lot of the thinking, and no lie, for the way Vincent's apartment is actually like set up. It's like the apartment how I would want to set it up. Maybe that's like my little hidden underneath Japanese like style that I've loved since as a kid, since I was into gaming and everything, and I used to watch the animes.
Yeah.
Uh, just the story of Vincent and his life, and it could relate to like a lot of people in regards to where they want to go in the direction in life, what's going to happen, and everyone comes to those pivotal points. And he's in his 30s, and he's trying to decide what he wants to continue. He does want to marry the girl, but at the same time, maybe he doesn't. But then he haven't gone too far into the game yet, so obviously he already cheated on her, and he already everything is happening all at once. But then hearing the banter with the friends at the bar, and then you could just play little arcade games when you're there. Catherine's a good time if you want a change of pace game wise. It's a fun time you got to sit and like listen and look, and you got to sit and listen and telling a story. And it was really interesting because there was a point where like Catherine, the other one, the blonde one,
Yeah.
she sends you a message I guess with a photo. And I thought it was just so funny when I'm trying to open the phone to look at the message she sent with the photo, and then Vincent's going like, "Hey, wait a minute! I can't do that here. I gotta do that in a place where no one can see me." I was like, I was going like surreal. So I actually had to go to the bathroom to look at that pic. I have to actually sit in the toilet to see that picture. So, but everything that's been going on in this game, it's the game that I've held on my computer the longest. It's like the one that I never uninstalled yet. But I'm going to complete it throughout the week. I don't know how much longer it's going to take me, but I'm going to complete at least the end of the story. I'm going to complete all the decision makings and all the little the QTE sections where you're making your decision, like, and it gives you all these pondering questions. What's more important to you, work or relationships? It gives you those questions.
Yeah.
And sometimes it makes you think. And I know some people want to make fun of it, and they'll probably pick all the bad decisions. Like, hey, baby, what's up? Like, they'll pick all the bad decisions because they want all the bad ones. Like, okay, I guess you don't want to get married to your wife, or supposedly your wife. You want to be the evil one.
They're playing Renegade.
Yeah, they want to play Renegade. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've been playing with like all the honest decisions. Like, I'm such a loser.
That's how I play them, though.
I know. I put all the honest decisions. Like, no, I wouldn't cheat on her. I wouldn't do this. Like, yes, I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna do this. Like, because that's how I am for reals. That's how I actually am as a person. So, like, I will answer back her. They even give you like the options to not respond to texts. So it could be like a bad decision if you didn't respond right away, or if you didn't.
Yeah.
If you say, what do you want, instead of saying like, okay, like, is it something important? God, Jesse, gosh darn it, you're just such a good guy. You just want to respond to her. And but at the same time, I also responded back to the other Catherine. I didn't say like, yeah, send the pic. I just said, no, who's this? And then that was still the bad decision, because then now she knows that's my number. I'm like, oh, dang it. So then she sends the pic. Oh man, I don't know. I'm having fun with it. So I'm gonna continue on with Catherine. That's just a fun game. Everyone either get Catherine Classic or Catherine Full Body if you want additional story modes. You can't go wrong with either one. I have Classic because it was cheaper at the time, but that's what I'm playing so far, with a little Doom Eternal Horde mode peppered in there for fun. If I want to feel like I want to kick myself in the butt.
That's your Doom mention of the week.
That's my what? There you go. That's as far as I'm gonna go with Doom mentionings for the week. That I pepper it in there because I do still love Horde mode. I'm still gonna try to complete it from beginning to end. I have it, man. Doom Horde is hard. And as much as I love Doom Eternal, I am not the powerful, super switching weapons 10 times like how you've seen people do it on the videos. Man, that takes a lot of time to develop. I've seen some better players than me on it. I mean, I still love the series, but my goodness, some people are so dang good. They switch weapons on the fly and they kill like the big boss demons like in 10 seconds flat. And I'm like, maybe I should learn it. I think I have to learn that to beat horde mode, at least like on ultra violent, because I think that's what the developers had in mind. Um, so I don't know. I'll figure that out. But yes, that'll be the only time I mention Doom because we ain't talking about shooting games today. We ain't
No.
talking about that. No, we're not.
So what we're talking about today, not shooting games, not Guardians or anything like that, but what we are talking about today as a main topic is fighting games, something that Jesse is very familiar with. I have dabbled in many fighting games, but not, in a competitive space or anything like that. So I'd be listening more to Jesse's take on, his favorite games that he's played throughout the years. I have, some experience, so I'll be mentioning those. But Jesse, what excites you about fighting games? Like, why is that one of your favorite genres in gaming?
Yes. So obviously, besides shooting people, I like punching people and kicking people. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little violent on the inside, but no, not because of the violence only. But the thing that I do love about fighting games compared to a lot of other game genres. So, um, not storytelling, because honestly, most fighting game stories are not the greatest out there. There's very few where the story like holds up. Um, but the biggest thing about fighting games that I do love is the competitive nature and the competition between two people. I personally feel that fighting games are the best multiplayer games out there. Um, I feel that fighting games are a beautiful chess match, if you would say. So they're a very good way of determining skill with each other because I don't know, just something about it excites that. Okay, obviously I am not a fighter myself. I didn't study boxing. I didn't study jujitsu. I didn't do any type of fighting training. I took a little bit of karate when I was a kid, but just something about the atmosphere and the cool moves and um, as a kid, because I started in fighting games when I was a kid in the 1990s when we had our 90s episode in the back. Um, not to reiterate everything about the 90s, but the thing that I liked the most from the fighting games back then in the 90s, all the arcade games were amazing back then. So fighting the computer is cool, but gets really cheesy at times because the computers during the arcade times are trying to really suck the quarters out of you. So you'll probably beat the first two people and then you'll you'll get annihilated after a little while. But when actually you have the one-on-one competition with somebody, it's just a fire that you get on the inside about finding out who's the best. And it's it's one of the best ways to compete without actually getting too violent for yourself. You could just keep it all in the game, and it's something that you can release like stress on, like after a hard day of work or school. That's what still intrigues me today about fighting games. That's like it's the one-on-one competition, seeing who's the best, all the moves, doing the strategies to get around the moves, and all the different characters that they come up with, like whatever game that you're playing, whether if you're playing something from the past, like Soul Calibur, which has a lot of like medieval warfare with swords and shields. If you're playing something like Street Fighter, where there's a lot of different characters, but fighting in the streets, of course, because you're fighting in streets all over the place. But you get like karates, you get wrestlers, um, you get I said karate and wrestlers, but you also get like super soldiers, and you get and then if you play something like Mortal Kombat, you get like the Oriental style, you get ninjas in there, you get super martial artists, and then as you go later on, you get robots along with the ninjas. And Tekken has like a lot of the Tekken has a lot of other martial artists as well. Then, um, but oh my god, I'm just trying to put everything into words. But just fighting games are just amazing. And I would really encourage everyone to at least attempt one. At least someone to get to get into a fighting game, at least one, and there's pretty much one that everyone can get into. Some are very simplistic in manner, and some are very technical. And I got so into fighting games. I'm at that level where I'm at that mid level where I'm good enough to beat like maybe a lot of like not too many people who've not played them, and maybe like a lot of my friends, but I'm not good enough to compete in Evo or any like fighting game competition status. So it's like that little middle ground area. Um, and a fighting game, unlike other game areas where like it kind of goes like from beginning, middle, to end, like a story time. Um, a lot of people like that more, and a lot of people like the continuation of getting better and better at a fighting game. When I've watched a lot of pros, so about the fighting game, someone that gets really into fighting games, they try to get better and better and better, and there's no end to it. There's so many different combinations of characters and matchups, and trying to develop strategies maybe against a particular character, not against a particular character. So so there's never ending. You can always keep learning and learning and learning, and you learn about your character. It's one of those games where maybe it's easy to begin, but to master, it's tough. But
Yeah,
if you enjoy the journey, it's awesome.
that's one of the things that gets it's difficult for me, and I'm gonna guess a lot of other casual fighting game players is just I guess devoting a set amount of time to a specific game to get better. Um,
Hmm.
it's that wall that everybody has to climb. I remember one of the earliest ones that I played is Super Street Fighter 2.
Nice.
Um,
Classic.
and I remember playing that on Super Nintendo, and just the first time I did a Hadouken, the first time I did one of those, and learning it and learning all the other moves that everybody else does, and it was one of those like just a learning curve, like especially at that time where you had no internet to go like, oh, what's the button configuration, oh, how do I do this. It's just like pressing random buttons and then like learning it. I didn't have the uh the original case and manual, so I couldn't see like the button configuration, so I always had like hand me down, so I had just the game. And
Mm.
what I love about the fighting games, at least for that one, which is one of my first early memories of fighting games, was the art style of it, and then
Mhm.
just like you said, it's one on one. It's you
That,
versus, at least on that one. It's one on one.
yeah.
It's you versus the player, and sometimes it's you versus another real life player, not the computer. And
Hmm.
just learning, at least for that one, I love because each one had a different, I guess, technique. It had a different fighting style.
Nice.
You had E Honda, who's huge, but he somehow has this move that's just super fast, and I like the art style where, yeah, you
I used
couldn't
to do
even
that.
really see
That-
it. It was just
yeah.
that. It was just his hands going super quick for this giant dude, and that he
Yeah.
can go, fly across the room with a headbutt. And it's this huge dude that took me off guard the first time I played it, and I love that one just because of uh, the different fighting style. Not everybody had the same kick or anything like
No.
that. Um, even as Ken and Ryu seem very similar, they have a subtle difference to it, and I prefer Ken over
Mhm.
Ryu, and it was just that. It was the Hadouken.
Mhm.
One of them does it slow. You can make it faster.
Mhm.
You have Blanca using his electricity. So each character had
Oh
his own
man.
thing. I loved it.
The electricity dude
Yeah,
all day.
but
And
yeah,
legit, oh man, Super Street Fighter 2 again, granddaddy of all of them. It's one well, not excuse me, Street Fighter 2 is the granddaddy. I think Street Fighter 2 is the one that popularized fighting games the most.
yeah,
And then from there, the the spawn of all other fighting games after that just went nuts. I definitely did like Ryu in the past, but I also like Sagat. Sagat was legit back then in Street Fighter, but my gosh, E Honda, and then when he used to grab you with the hug, and then like he would, and then he would do the, and then he would fly up, like he would
yeah.
just come down. It'll just land on you, and then oh my gosh, when you played against Zangief. Well, if you played like a projectile character, you were able to keep him away from you most of the time. But the moment he comes in,
He gave
the
me so
the
much
spinning
anxiety,
pile
dude.
driver.
He would get closer, and he had like that walk like this, like his hands are up. He's doing like that weird hip movement,
Yep.
and I'm like, dude, like Hadouken, Hadouken, and he's like jumping over there, and I'm like, no,
He's
he
getting
got me.
closer.
Pile
Oh,
driver, suplex.
and that's actually to go along with what you were talking about, Zangief and all these people that have different fighting styles. Um, to give you like a little trivia, those are just different types of characters. Like other qualities. The thing about it, you can have your character however you want. You can have what's called a rushdown character, which is someone that you can just use to go hyper offense. Like their object is to get in, hit, like to stay in as fast as you can. Keep away characters, like if you remember Dalsim, like he is determined to keep you away, but he wants to hit you from far away. So like Yoga Fire, Yoga Flame, the long arm extender, but he
Hmm.
moves really slow. So if you get in on him, he's doomed. And then the character you just talked about that inspired the fear, that's Zangief. That's the grappler style,
Yeah.
and that is actually their main style. Fear is their biggest tactic because they want to get as close to you as possible, and they are a big imposing force. They all have like different healths. They have the higher health,
Hmm.
so the moment like he gets in on you, you are scrambling. You're trying to get out of the way, and the purpose of a fighting game is um, some little extra thing about 2D fighting games. Because I researched all these, I've seen all these things from like Justin Wong and Gutex back in the day. I used to watch like videos from Cross Counter. I just used to watch little videos about like the strategy. Like in the fighting game, you want to get them not only just get as close as depending on your character, but you want to control the space on the ground and you want to keep them. You want to get them all the way to the edge where they have no space to get away. That's your object. You want to get them all the way to the end, can't get away, and then if they try to jump, you anti-air them to try to if they try to jump or. But then again, this is again coming from someone who's like studied it a lot. But these are the things I love too. It's intricacy, the
Yeah.
strategy that like some people like StarCraft for their strategy. I like this for my strategy. I like this for my detail.
Yeah,
But
and I could see that. I
yeah,
could see that from like I know you have more experience with fighting games, but just as a casual
yeah,
person from with that genre, I could at least identify the differences between the characters,
yeah,
and I didn't know about that, about like that, that fear that they, I guess the developers did their job correctly and outdid
yep,
themselves when you can instill fear. It's a fighting game. It's not a horror game, but
yeah.
I see it as a kid. I'm like, I know that dude. He's gonna grab me. He's
He's
gonna
coming.
throw
He's
me.
on the way. Dude, what other fighting games did you play besides that? Because I have a plethora, which I will go over like a little later. But what other fighting games did you play back then? Besides Street Fighter 2? Super
Um,
Street Fighter 2.
Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, and Mortal Kombat for the Sega Genesis were kind of like my early like entries into fighting games.
Yes.
But even a little bit later, I started. I don't know if you ever played this one, X Men Next Dimension. I played it on the
No.
GameCube.
Honestly.
Uh,
Honestly, I did not play it. I heard about it, but I never played it, man. How was that? I've seen it like on photos and things like that. 3D X-Men game, right?
yeah, it's kind of 3D X Men game. I guess more in terms with like Tekken, where you can like move to another side, I believe.
Hmm.
But that one was cool. I mean, that one stays there in my memories just from growing up because my cousin played that game, and X Men is like one of his favorite Marvel, entities, groups, and so he loves X Men a lot, and I would play with them, and it was cool. I mean, I would pick like Nightcrawler. I would
Nice.
pick Nightcrawler. I'd pick Toad. I picked like the most obscure characters just because he went with Cyclops, Wolverine, the most obvious ones. But then I was like, you know what, these guys are pretty cool. And like Toad would, obviously use his tongue, and he'd be more
Yep.
of like, I guess what you like, trying to stay away, trying to fight from afar.
Hmm.
Nightcrawler would like disappear and appear to the opposite side of the character and fight. But I like that one. That one was a pretty decent fighting game. I remember me and him just duking it out. If it wasn't Smash Brothers, I have more to say about Smash Brothers, but if it wasn't Smash Brothers, we were playing Next Dimension, and we loved the action sequences. We loved just using the terrain also to hit each other with. Um,
There you go.
that's like I guess a memory that I used to have for that one, and then even in the same gen was Marvel Nemesis: Rise of the Imperfects. A little
There we
bit
go.
more obscure, but I got it because it's Marvel. I saw Spider Man on the cover, and I needed to buy it. I needed to play it. That one is treated more like an open arena type of fighting style, so it's not really necessarily a fighting game, but it is like a one-on-one type of thing.
Hmm.
Um, that one I remember spending a good amount of time. I had it on the GameCube and the PSP for some reason. And I just remember using the terrain also. That was also one of those that you can pick up a car and smash it on the opponent. Uh, I would be web swinging with Spider Man and just, fighting it out. It seems a little bit more like, I don't know if you played these isometric Marvel Alliance.
I did.
It played
I
almost
did.
similar to
Yeah.
that. It almost played similar to
Nice.
that. So
Uh-huh.
those are like my early memories of fighting games. Do you have which ones did you play like in the '90s and early 2000s?
My goodness. Pull out your pens and papers, everybody, because I played a lot of fighting games as a kid, but I'm not gonna talk about each one, only the ones that I've definitely have the most memories with. So in the arcade era, um, Super Street Fighter 2 was one there. The other one that I really loved in the arcades was Street Fighter Alpha 3. If you play like the Alpha series, the Alphas where they started moving to more of like the anime looking style
Oh yeah, I
drawings
remember that
of the
one. Yeah.
characters. So in story wise, Street Fighter Alpha in Japan it's called Street Fighter Zero. It's before all the Street Fighter series. So there's Street Fighter One, which is just called Street Fighter, but no one talks about that one because that game is horrible.
Yeah, I've
The
seen it.
controls, that was yeah, no, don't play that one. It's fine. You can skip. Just go to Street Fighter Two. A lot of people didn't even think there was a Street Fighter One. They just assumed Street Fighter Two, but they never questioned the number two. They just said, "Oh, Street Fighter Two, yeah, that one." But Street Fighter Alpha or Zero, is the game, one of the fighting games I loved the most. Specifically, the third one because it had the biggest character rosters. Um, it introduced a lot of other characters that I started liking in Street Fighter as well, just like Cody and Armika. The female wrestler is in it, and um,
Is that when they introduced Akuma? Or
no, Akuma was actually introduced in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
oh,
So
Turbo. I didn't have Turbo.
yeah, not a lot of people did because I believe it was either only an arcade release or it only was on the 3DO.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty sure it was another system. Someone can let us know later if it was on another system. But from what I remember, it was on 3DO. So it wasn't one that was just readily available until Xbox Live Arcade and other consoles like that started coming out, where retro revivals were coming out. But he was a secret character then um, by no name or anything. If you actually got to fight him, Akuma actually comes in, kills M Bison, and then fights you. That's like the most interesting
Yeah,
way to
I
like
seen that.
introduce him. And he was so good at the time, he was banned from all tournaments.
Of
Like they're all
course.
like, no, can't use him. Like, no, 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 don't you dare. Like, stop. Like, don't use Akuma. But that's actually where Akuma got introduced. And um he became one of the most popular Street Fighter characters afterward. Most of the time he was like a hidden character, but um I believe, man, I'm gonna have to recheck my own history. I think in Street Fighter Alpha 2 he was not a hidden character. Alpha 1 I remember he was like a hidden character, but Alpha 3 and beyond he started becoming more the mainstay. And then Alpha 3, along with the whole Street Fighter Alpha series, became like the mainstay, like art style for a lot of future games that you and myself love, like the Marvel vs. Capcom series
Yeah.
and the X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. They use those models. That's the anime like model that they used
Okay.
to for those games. Um, I played a lot of Mortal Kombat 2 and 3. The only time I played Mortal Kombat 1 in the arcades was the Pizza Hut in Downey. When I used to go to Pizza Eat buffets, there was a Mortal Kombat 1 machine there. And so I would play it there, but I played mostly Mortal Kombat 2 and 3. If you remember from a previous episode when we talked about the 90s, I talked about how my parents were like scared of me getting beat up or getting someone getting mad at me because I
Yeah.
kept winning at a game at them or something. That was Mortal Kombat 3. I was Cyrax most of the time in that game. Mustard or the yellow robot. But that was the game that I was hooked on, and I knew how to do a combo. I know you're gonna call me like a button masher, but one of his combos was easier to perform because I had to just press mostly high punch and high kick, so I would always like smash it together.
I think that was
But
majority of us starting out
yep.
with the fighting
Oh, and
game. Just button mash.
just hit the buttons in that order and you're good. So then to continue on, just a small list, like Killer Instinct 1 was a game I used to love in the arcades. Primal Rage, which was like dinosaurs and apes fighting each other, and those were the popular fighting games that I played in the 90s. But that's actually where the fighting game phenomena for me started, because at the time the arcades were like the highest graphics at the time. It was not compared to Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis or like the PlayStation, the N64 were getting close. They were like getting
almost
there.
Yeah.
They were almost there, but it wasn't never arcade perfect. Now for me, when it started getting arcade perfect in the 2000s, when the Dreamcast came along, now the line is gone. Because when I got my first copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 1 for Dreamcast, now it's just the same thing now. It's not different. And that's unfortunately when the arcade scene started to die even more. Like
I've never had a Dreamcast, but I know that the Dreamcast was filled with fighting games, right?
Oh, dude, so many. Like Mortal Kombat Gold, which is like the best version of Mortal Kombat 4. Soul Calibur, Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Capcom vs. SNK, Capcom vs. SNK 2. Oh my, they had a lineup. And then if you wanted to go outside of like the mainstay, like the 3D, there was a game. Do you remember a game called Power Stone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. I like I said, I never owned one, but I did play my neighbor's Sega Dreamcast. He had it, and Power Stone was one that he had. Yeah.
The gem collecting and you using the environment and everything, so similar to what other games would follow in the future. But Power Stone was there. My favorite of all the Dreamcast era was Soul Calibur. Me and my buddy Russell would play that all the time. We would compete everywhere. We would try all the characters: Siegfried, Nightmare, Killick, Maxi. We would just go with every character and all these weapons, but my mainstay was Nightmare. I don't know, the Azure Evil Knight was just the best. Like it would just go everywhere. And
is that the dude with the one-eye sword?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I do remember
yes,
that
it is. And then he would grab you. He would grab you and then just like chuck you. And then he would have the huge sword that would just go. Wah! He would remind you of, if anyone watched the anime Berserk.
Yes.
He would remind you of Guts from Berserk. Not the same character, but he'll remind you of Guts. Which, if back then when Screw Attack was a bigger thing, they did have a Guts versus Nightmare episode. That was most interesting there. So, but now the channel's called Death Battle, but because they only do death battles now. But when I used to watch death battles, Guts versus Nightmare was a death battle. But Soul Calibur was my favorite.
Yeah, I only played Soul Calibur 2, and then also I did play Soul Calibur. Are we on the 5th one?
Right now they're on the 6th. Right now they're on the 6th one.
Is that with Geralt from Witcher?
That is the 5th one.
Okay, that's the last one that I played. And that was against you. We played at Josh's house, and we were having tournaments, and I wiped the floor with everybody with Smash, and you're like, okay, Soul Calibur time. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be winning you.
All right, let's go. You're like, I'm getting mad here. I'm playing Smash. The most Smash I've done is I love Melee. Melee is the Smash Brothers that I love the most. I do have Ultimate, but my God, is this. I mean, I need some more people to help me unlock a lot of characters or something, because it is a lot. Um, oh no, pardon me, I was incorrect. It was six that has Geralt, so it was six.
Okay, yeah, that's the
Okay, it was
last
six.
one.
Yeah, because that. Okay, you're my bad. So the fifth one, pardon my numbering. The fifth one had Ezio from Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the fourth one had Star Wars characters,
Yeah, it had
which
Yoda and Vader, right?
Yoda and Vader. So
And
the first,
Spawn, right?
no, no, that's Soul Calibur 2.
Soul
But
Calibur 2 had. Okay, yeah.
so this was the Spawn that you just said is the beginning of the character exclusives on console. So the Xbox version of Soul Calibur 2 got Spawn.
Okay, that's right.
And then of course the GameCube one got Link. Who
The
the hell else
best
would you want to
one.
get?
The best version.
Yeah,
That's the
I
only
mean,
reason why I got Soul Calibur 2. I saw a link on the cover. I'm like, yep.
I'm inclined to agree on that because I had the PS2 version and I am not a big fan of Hihachi being the character. You gave me a non-living person to use and you can't use Yoshimitsu because Yoshimitsu's already a character in Soul Calibur because they were both owned by Namco. So there was a Yoshimitsu in Tekken and there was a Yoshimitsu in Soul Calibur.
Man, that must have
So
been huge for them to get Link of all the
yeah.
characters for Nintendo. Like, that's
That's the reason
crazy.
why I was. Well, what other Nintendo character can you think of? Who else has a sword that you want to use?
I'm thinking.
Like who else has a sword and shield that you want to use for Nintendo?
That's pretty true. I know there's one, but I can't think of one.
Hard.
Not as high up there though. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it would have been weird seeing Mario there, but Link makes the
Mm.
most sense.
Mhm.
Maybe even Sheik would have been cool.
She could have been on it. I think anyone from the start. Oh, Ganondorf would have been cool.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
would have been cool
So
too.
the moral of the story here is any Legend of Zelda character probably could have been locked in
Yeah,
on this game. It would have worked. It would have just straight worked. Like you can't put Samus in here because she has the blaster, and basically everyone's just gonna stay away. Like everyone's just
yeah.
gonna move, and you. But yeah, that's why for me, Soul Calibur 4 just went a little off the deep end because like they put Star Wars characters in here with lightsabers against people with swords, and they're reflecting lightsabers. Star Wars lover nerd alert. That doesn't happen. That shouldn't be happening. So that's just me because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So it's like that doesn't happen. And if you pick Yoda, you're a cheater because Yoda was the worst because you can't hit him. You can't. Like Yoda was that little tiny character that like every sword slash you do is gonna miss, but he can hit you from 10 million times. It's like, no, if you picked Yoda, gosh darn it, you suck. That's at least what I thought. But my version of Soul Calibur 2 and 3 came from the PS2 version. But yeah, Soul Calibur, an amazing fighting game franchise. And right now on the 6th version, and now with DLC, and they're now incorporating. Do you remember a game called Samurai Showdown?
Yeah.
So now they're incorporating, like the main character from Samurai Showdown is now one of the characters in Soul Calibur as well. It's part of DLC. So,
Oh,
um, yeah, Soul Calibur 6 is the most recent one. And for anyone who's like starting fighting games, if you wanted to after this episode or anything, I would say, at least from what I've heard from other YouTubers and other people, and I agree, the best time to kind of get into one, if you want to get into one, is kind of right when it starts, if you can, because everyone kind of starts from square
scratch.
one
Yeah.
when you're just starting it. Um, if you want to get more into it online and like compete with people and maybe play with other people on a game, try to go as early as possible because like let's say if you try to get into Street Fighter, the most recent Street Fighter right now is Street Fighter 5. If you try to get into it later, like now, oh man, there are people who've had already several years of experience. So you're gonna have a tough trek to get up. You still could, but just get ready to deal with that.
Yeah, for me, I just wanted to highlight one final game just for on my side is just my favorite fighting game franchise, which I've heard is very mixed online because some people don't even consider it as one. But Super Smash, it's a game that I play with no items, no specials or anything like that. It's just you versus the other person. Even with changing the I guess the field because a lot of the levels are different and they might not be equal. I just play Final Destination. That's either platforms or no platforms. It doesn't matter to me. I prefer with no platforms and Smash. I've played every single one since the very first one on N64 and I feel like Smash Ultimate finally got up to where Melee was, where there's so many characters to choose from. You're gonna find a character for yourself for your play style, and the so much love put into this game with all the characters. How many fighting game characters are in here from other fighting games? You got the Super Street Fighter in there. I think you got Tekken characters in there. You got King of Fighters in there. Am I missing any others? I know those are like pretty much the main ones. I know you have Marvel characters as well with like the Avatar looking people, the Mii's, because you have Mega Man and stuff like that. You have Monster Hunter. You have so many games in here that it's pretty much it's not gonna be on par with Fortnite in terms of collaborations and in terms of how many people are in there, but for a fighting game, I'm able to fight, Sora from Kingdom Hearts with Cloud versus Sephiroth versus Mario. Like
Versus Snake.
yeah, versus Snake,
Versus Snake.
and yeah, it's my favorite video game character, Snake. I could go up against my other favorite video game character with Link or Cloud, whatever it may be. Like Ryu versus Snake. Let's have that, or Simon Belmont from the Castlevania series versus Ridley from Metroid. Like it's just so crazy the amount of characters that are in that game, and it's a good party game. It's a good 8 people can join in one match, or it could be one-on-one, and you can have so many different settings with items or no items, specials, no specials, stuff like that. So for me, I'm not that big into the fighting game genre, but somebody wants to throw down, somebody wants to say, hey, you want to play a couple rounds of Smash? I'm pretty proficient, not what Evo level, but I can hold my own in a fight. I know what I'm doing in Super Smash Brothers. So for me, Super Smash Brothers series as a whole has been my favorite fighting game series that I've played.
My good sir, I challenge you to some more Smash Brothers sets in the future.
I accept wholeheartedly. Because I think you did give me a challenge last time at Josh's house.
I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again because I'm just getting my blood pumped, getting ready as soon as you kept talking about that. My God, the ultimate lineup is amazing. I actually get excited for like the reveals. I'll tell you this: the Banjo reveal was like oh my gosh, they brought Banjo and Kazooie. And when you mention like all the fighting game reveals, I mean, at least in my opinion, I feel it was like a big one. But when they put Kazuya Mishima from Tekken in Smash, dude, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And he has all his electrics and his hell sweeps and his moves. I was like, are you kidding me? Tekken? The Tekken character in this? And then Terry Bogard from the King of Fighters and the Final Fate and the Final I forgot the name of the other game of it, but Terry Bogard, Ken, Ryu, Richter Belmont from Rondo of Blood, but also Simon Belmont, Sonic, Pac-Man, Sora,
Piranha Plant
character. Piranha Plant, why not? Charizard, why not? And I'll tell you this, and yes, technically Doom Guy is in. Yes, he is. He's in it as a me skin, as a custom fighter. But guess what? Now we can do me as Doom Guy versus you as Snake.
Yeah.
1-on-1. Like that's it. That's where it goes. No, and in my opinion, yeah, everyone has their own opinions on it. Yes, Smash is a fighting game. It has a tier list. It has frame data. It has advantages. Yes, it is. It started off as a party game. Even the creator said he wanted it to be more of a fighting game instead of a he wanted it to be more of a fighting game, and excuse me, a party game instead of a fighting game. But no, yes, it is a fighting game. Absolutely, wholeheartedly. It's one where you can compete one on one. Can you have 8 people? Yes, you can have 8 people if you want. But man, that becomes a chaotic mess. Um, but um, but you can do one on one, 0 items, and just go with a straight match. And Smash Brothers, I have the most memories with Smash One and Melee. I never owned a Wii, so I didn't play Brawl that much. I didn't have a Wii U, so I didn't play 4 that much. Um, so Ultimate was the one where I jumped back in since I got a Switch. Like, dude, you have a Switch, you gotta own a copy of Smash Ultimate. But
Yeah.
man, there's so many characters to unlock in that game. You gotta devote a lot of time to get everything. And hey, to all the people who have the completed files with all the characters unlocked, kudos on you, man, because that's a lot of work.
I did it the first weekend it released.
My God, how much Smash did you play?
I've played so much, dude. That's how much I love the series that weekend. I think it was like this. I think I unlocked it like Sunday, Monday morning, like 1 a.m. Of Monday of the Friday that it released, and it was like okay, like that meme of Frodo is like it's done,
It's done.
I was done. I got them all. I got Mewtwo. I got Ridley. I got all of them.
There we go. Oh man, that's so many that I haven't done yet. But do I like playing it still? Yeah, I love it on the go now on the Switch. I'm willing to throw down everything. I'm willing to take anyone's challenge for anything fighting game wise. I will play any of them. I don't know all of them specifically, as many as I can. But sometimes something that happens when you play a lot of fighting games too is that you kind of get like a little sense of feeling for most fighting games. Sometimes if you played one, you'll have a handle on how to play the others, but they all play so differently.
Yeah.
So my favorite series of fighting games overall, I'm gonna do a little cheating here, and I'm gonna go kind of like a studio type of detail. Um, Everything that was done from Mortal Kombat and from NetherRealm Studios, because it became NetherRealm Studios. Because I'm also a fan of not just the Mortal Kombat games from them, but I'm also a fan of the Injustice games,
Okay.
which kind
Yeah.
of go with like a similar. It kind of goes with like a similar engine, except you hold back to block for the Injustice ones, and each character has like a trait. But um, the fighting and everything. Mortal Kombat 9 was like the revitalization of the Mortal Kombat series. Everyone loved MK9 because um if you played any have you ever played any game like Mortal Kombat 4 or Deadly Alliance, Deception, or
Well,
Armageddon, any of those?
which one's the one that I told you about in my N64 game? Was that Mortal Kombat 4?
That's Mortal Kombat 4. That's a 3D Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah, that's the one I played.
Yeah.
But I got so much nostalgia for Mortal Kombat still that I did end up buying Mortal Kombat 11. Um, I have
Nice.
it on the Switch, but I also have it on PS4
There we go.
and PS5. I got the Ultimate Edition. Just because
Nice.
me and my girl, we love Mortal Kombat, so we're like, yeah, Scorpion versus Sub-Zero and stuff like that. But yeah, I played those. I really like those.
It's the series of series, man. It's just the best with like the mythology and the lore. If I do like a story in a fighting game, I do like the Mortal Kombat story from beginning to end. It's nuts. And then the interesting thing about Mortal Kombat as well is one through all the way through Armageddon. That's the end of one huge generation of Mortal Kombat, and then because of the beginning of Mortal Kombat 9, uh, basically in the end everything's destroyed, and then like Shao Kahn is the winner of everything, and Raiden sends a message to his past self. Past Raiden, now you relive the moments from Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, which is Mortal Kombat 9 is a combination of 1, 2, and 3, the story wise, but it's kind of retold and different things happen because of the interference or things have happened. And then you get a whole new timeline after that.
Is Mortal Kombat 9 the one that came out on PS3 and 360? Where
Yes,
I
it
think the
is.
cover is like Scorpion, like I think Sub Zero's gonna do like a freeze blast or something, and Scorpion's on the other side.
Yep,
Okay, I remember that one.
absolutely.
You know, I didn't know that. This is how noob I am on fighting games. I didn't know that Mortal Kombat had a story until I started reading stuff about Mortal Kombat 9. And they're like, oh yeah, this takes place after this, and it's the end all trilogy. I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was a story. I just thought these guys were fighting each other, just fighting each other. I didn't know that there were stories except for the movies.
And that's true. That's true. And a lot of the times for fighting games, I was in a fighting game drought when N64 came out because there was not good fighting games on N64, and the controller on the N64 kind of sucked for fighting games. It
Yeah.
was because it was the worst. I think there was like a game called like Dark Rift and Mace: The Dark Ages that I played with on N64. The only one that was really good was Killer Instinct Gold, which was a Killer Instinct 2 made for consoles, which I liked, but that was it. That was the only thing on N64. When I got on PS2, Tekken and which is my favorite 3D franchise besides Soul Calibur, I like Tekken a little bit more because that one also has a lore with the whole Mishima family. That's just basically everyone else has like a mini story, but the Mishima family is like the main story. Um, but I'm gonna save that for like another time when we ever do Tekken talk. But like but Mortal Kombat is still the other reason why I love NetherRealm Studios is because all their fighting game stories are great. They put an effort into it. Starting with Mortal Kombat 9, they put the effort into story mode. So now it's like a real narrative. Like I love the Injustice storyline about the Injustice storyline, at least starting from Injustice 1, is Superman, like Joker taking a killing of Lois Lane too far and destroying Metropolis, killing Superman. And then this is like Superman finally like seeing like the world will not change unless he imposes the change. But then at what cost does the change happen? Like,
Yeah.
are you going to remove everyone's free will to even choose between good and evil? And then Batman becomes like the pseudo more good guy because Batman still believes in justice and people still having like a choice in the matter. But Superman now wants to take that choice away. So that even leads to the other stories of Injustice 2, where it takes place after the events of Injustice 1 with Superman in jail, but then they want to free him and and it's so interesting because some heroes want to join Superman and they feel the same way, but some people are like Batman where they like no, like you still can't kill anyone. There's no right way. That's not the right way still. Like you can't ruin people's free will to just live the most peaceful life. As great as the peaceful life sounds, like the option of not having a choice, that's rough. That's a hard world to live in, even if it is the most perfect and peaceful world out there. It's like, but when you lose choice, do you really get to be you? Like, you just don't. It's just, it's which is again, NetherRealm Studios just knocks it out of the park with fighting game stories, and that's why they're my favorite studio for fighting games. So I'm going to include a couple of those games like in the genre, but they're the ones I've kept coming back to. I always buy a new NetherRealm game whenever it comes out. Next one I'm waiting for, I'm still waiting to see if they either make Mortal Kombat 12 or if they make Injustice 3. Those are the next two. They always switch off every 2 years. So every 2 years, it'll be either a Mortal Kombat game or it'll be an Injustice game. Supposedly, Mortal Kombat 12 is in the lines after 11. Um, but it could be Injustice 3, which would be the next Injustice game. Um, I would say give any of those games a shot. Those are all great games if you want a story as well. But everyone's different, fighting game wise. There's styles for everyone: 3D styles, 2D styles, party like game. There's even now a Nickelodeon character, the Nickelodeon All Stars, which
Yeah.
now thanks to Smash Brothers, now it's called like a Smash Brothers copy. They always do. They call that like Smash Brothers copy because Smash Brothers originated this
I
kind
mean,
of
my
style.
favorite one of the Smash Brothers copy is PlayStation All Stars.
Oh,
And
I never played it, but I heard it was still legit. I heard it was
yeah,
pretty good.
it was made up of like people who have worked on fighting games, so that's why it was like a
Hmm.
collective like veterans. But it's kind of hard to see the template of a Smash Brothers and try not to emulate the same thing. But I feel like
Yeah.
if they would have just straight up copied it, I think it would have been just better than them trying to do something new. But
Mhm.
I did love PlayStation All Stars. I liked what they were trying to do. I liked the characters, that it was just a mishmash of different. You saw Raiden in there. Uh,
Yep.
so that was,
Sweet Tooth.
yeah, Sweet Tooth,
Hmm.
Kratos, even like the most obscure ones like Parappa the Rapper. Even you got Sackboy, small Sackboy, from
Yep.
Little Big Planet. So it was
There's
a
also
good.
like Fat Princess too, right?
Yeah, Fat Princess,
Yeah, it's like
Big
there's a lot of
Daddy,
different.
uh,
Why not? Why
yeah,
not?
Dante. So it was a good effort. I feel so, for a fighting game, Super Smash Brothers clone. But okay, so Mortal Kombat or anything NetherRealm Studios is
Yeah,
your
man,
favorite.
good styles altogether. I used to like Street Fighter a little bit more, but nah, NetherRealm's kind of won me over more than the other ones. Um, and then like Soul Calibur after that, and then the Tekken series. But no, NetherRealm Studios overall knocking it out of the park. Because now I want a little story along with my fighting games, and I prefer to play them uh, with a person next to me. I'd rather do head-to-head competition. So I hope that does happen more in the future. I know because of the pandemic, tournaments have slowed down, but
Yeah.
when they come back up or go to people's houses, that's the best way I like to play them. I like to play. That's called local when you play it like that. So local style is the best way.
And with that is our boss pick of the week, as always. This is where we choose a specific boss character from a video game that is just too memorable, just so great for us to live back on with some nostalgia. This week is Jesse. Jesse, which boss is memorable to you that you want to talk about on this fighting episode?
Well, I am so glad that we are doing the fighting game episode today because, of course, my boss would be a fighting game boss. And I'm going to continue the route with the NetherRealm Studios and the Mortal Kombat. I'm going after the big baddie himself, the Emperor of Outworld, the Conqueror of Realms, Shao Kahn.
Okay.
A lot of people who've played Mortal Kombat know who he is. He is the in the time the most powerful conqueror ever. And when you got to the top of him of Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, he was a repeat boss there. My gosh, was he a quarter sucker. He was the cheapest of cheap characters ever at the time. His pose is gigantic, imposing, skull helmet, big shoulder pads, metal spikes everywhere. He has the shoulder charge. He has the up knee. He throws a spear, and then in 3 he throws a fireball. And whenever he hits you, ha, ha, like his hits would send you flying no matter what. A single punch is gonna send you far away. A single kick is gonna send you far away. And when you do a combo on him, but he's still standing. Like normally
Standing
moves that
still.
knock people down, and he's still there. He's still standing. So only like an uppercut would knock him down. Uppercut would. Roundhouse kick won't. He'll just take it. And the thing that was so imposing about him was he would taunt you all day as you are fighting him. You suck. Or and then he'd be like, that was pathetic. Like he is looking at you and he's telling you you suck. Like all day. And I've had so many arcade memories with him. And I used to play Mortal Kombat 3 on Super Nintendo too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now, of course, fast forward to today, you can cheese him, you can find out how to beat him, like it's easier, but I'm going by my kid memories. I didn't know how to cheese anything. I just
Yeah.
played with my heart. My god, that was the most imposing fighting game boss ever. He was just the coolest dude ever. Who doesn't want to be him at the time? He was ever take you suck, and he would laugh. His weakness also was his taunting because sometimes he would taunt in the middle of the fight, and that was like a free opening. That was a free hit or a free freeze or a free scorpion spear. And then they brought him back in Mortal Kombat 9, which then he was imposing there too, and he was cheaper there too. He was the worst in Mortal Kombat 9. He in Mortal Kombat 9 where they introduced the X-ray moves. You remember X-ray moves where they they would hit you with like moves. Yeah, like you do the punch and then it's like they would have it.
You see like the
Shao
skull
Kahn,
crush.
like yeah, exactly. Shao Kahn had the most ridiculous X-ray move ever. You lost almost all your health if you get hit by his X-ray. If you got hit by his X-ray, you might as well start over. You might as well, because like I would be beating him, and then he hits me with his X-ray, which he hits you with his hammer, and then he's like crushing your skull, and then he picks you up and he headbutts you like crazy, and then you're flown off, and you lost almost all your health with his X-ray alone. It was ridiculous. And all his moves again would hit you left and right, and they would demolish you no matter what. And then unfortunately in Mortal Kombat 11, he became a DLC character. Fine, I love Shao Kahn, so I'm gonna use him. But he's actually, if you want to go into tier list, he's actually pretty low tier, which I hated because I love the character, but he's just not good.
Maybe they didn't want to just overpower him, like make a paid character to be too overpowering, you know, like one of those paid to win characters.
Oh,
Maybe.
Yeah, I know, but it's just coming from a childhood where Shao Kahn is like your boss, like your man, like that was the dude at the time. They just underpowered him, or not just underpowered him, but he was just like a little bit slower. But his figure, his figure and his stature is still imposing as hell. Like when you hear the word Shao Kahn, you know who he is. Like you figure out who he is. You know he's coming in, and anyone of the main characters that says his name, they're afraid of him instantly when they say it. Like, oh, we have to go up against him. We got to do this. We got to do that against him, and everyone's always like hesitant. But that is in key my boss character of the week. That's my fighting game boss character of my life. I have other ones, but this is like the one that is the one that. Okay, look up to is not the great way to go because I don't want to conquer realms and I don't want to harm like people and all that stuff like he does.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll say the look up aspect of the confidence factor is what you like, because you need to have a lot of confidence to do what he does. So the confidence factor is great. But do you have memories with Shao Kahn himself?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not Shao Kahn, not him. Like I said, I only played a few Mortal Kombat games, and I know of him. I know how, like, the character, how he looks like with the. I just remember him like a huge dude with the skull face.
Yeah.
And that's how I remember him. I know more of the other dude, the one that will always take your souls in Mortal Kombat. Like he's there to take, like, your soul is mine.
Oh, Shang Tsung.
Yeah, him. He's more memorable, just both in the movie and the games themselves. But Shao Kahn, yeah, I didn't really fight. I didn't really get to the endings to those games.
I think because of the movies, it made Shang Tsung more popular, and Shang Tsung is definitely a mainstay. In the future, I'll probably mention him on there. He might be on the list in the future. I don't have him on it yet, but dude, Shang Tsung is still a mainstay. His Mortal Kombat 1 appearance wasn't the best because he was just like floating, but he would turn into the other characters, which was the thing about Mortal Kombat 1. He would turn into the other characters, but at the same time he had like the skull like fireball move. But oh dude, just from the movie you just know of Shang Tsung. Your soul is mine.
And I know he comes back in the last one, the Mortal Kombat 11. I know he's part of that story, and they use the same actor, and I'm like, okay, now you got me. That's why it got me interested.
Whoever thought of that idea, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You brought his voice and his likeness. Dude, I couldn't stop thinking about the Mortal Kombat movie when I'm watching him in story mode and doing all his mannerisms. It's like, oh my god. That was the best. That's the best video game portrayal actor of our life. He became so well known for that role that people forgot about how early Shang Tsung looked. They just used the movie one as the reference. Yeah. The movie one is the best reference for Shang Tsung, and sorcerer. Like everyone just despises him, hates it, and okay, I have to do this because otherwise I'm gonna. I have to do this because otherwise I'm gonna get that actor's name right now because I have to, because he's done such a good role. I just want to say it one time at least so I can because I know his first name is Carrie, but he one second, everybody. But his movie role is so his role is so iconic, and I just think about it. And he's done previous movies in the past, like he's done movies in the past, but my God, that was the movie. Oh, okay. My goodness, I'm going to butcher his name. Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa is the
Yes.
name of that actor. Now, that man is Shang Tsung forever. How I know him again as well, he's also Johnny Tsunami's grandpa. For anyone who saw that movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember Johnny Tsunami, Disney Channel.
Yeah, he was the grandpa, and now, and then in that movie, he's a good guy with his grandson, like everything, and he's like mellowed out. But I remember him as Shang Tsung forever. Like the moment I saw him in the movie, I'm like the Leo DiCaprio meme where he's like pointing at the TV. That's Shang Tsung. Like I'm like the meme. I'm like that's Shang Tsung right there. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna talk about him in the future, man. But um, I'll talk about him in later on times. But my goodness, um, Shao Kahn is mine, but Shang Tsung could be put up there as well. But I'm more with with Shao Kahn as my boss character for the week. But man, see now you made me talk about Shang Tsung as well. I love this. I love fighting games. I'll challenge anyone on fighting games if I got some moments. I gotta replug in my PS4 though if I want to do that. But I have some PC ones. I have Tekken 7 on PC and I have Street Fighter 5 on PC. For anyone who wants to play that, I have those two on the PC. But yeah, that is it. That's my boss character of the week.
Nice. Before we send off this episode into the sunset, last bit of news or updates. We do have a new Twitter handle for the show. You can follow us at @bosskey_podcast. We're right now we are on episode 14th, but next week episode is going to be all about Xbox, the history of Xbox in the last 20 years for us, our memories, our favorite memories on Xbox games, experiences, whatever it is, our favorite Xbox console, games that we love playing, what got us into the platform itself. We are doing a giveaway. You can see the giveaway details at bosskey_podcast. Basically, let us know, tweet that tweet, retweet it, and just comment on your favorite game or experience or moment, memory of Xbox in the last 20 years of its platform existence, and then use the hashtag BossKey Podcast so that you can submit your entry to win a $60 gift card to Microsoft. So
Whatever your choice on Xbox. You want a game? You want a Game Pass? Whatever your choice.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 5 is about to officially release on Tuesday. You might want to get it for that. You may want to, pre-order Halo Infinite with that, or get something else. I know Black Friday's coming around, and they usually have their Black Friday deals.
Retro game, current game, whatever. Movies. You can even spend it on movies if you want. I don't know. However you enjoy your Xbox. You could use it on that, like if you wanted to. Enjoy your Xbox how you want to enjoy it. But that's why we felt that $60 on Xbox period or Microsoft Store period was the best way to go.
Yeah. So go on to that Twitter. Maybe even follow us there if you like, to see other giveaways that we may do in the future. And like I said, retweet it. Let us know your favorite memory of Xbox, and using the hashtag BossKeyPodcast. And then the last date to submit is November 12th, which is this Friday coming up. Just submit it by then. That way I can see all the tweets and do the raffle pretty much.
Yep, over there because we'll be recording the episode that following weekend. So that's it. By Friday, everybody.
So again,
Friday the you said it was the 12th, correct?
Yeah.
12th. Yep, that's right. Friday the 12th.
So again, the Twitter handle for the show is at BossKey_podcast. You can find me at McQuack306 on Twitter. Where can they find you, Jesse?
They can find me at Jesse_Fergoso on Twitter as well. So then Jesse is spelled Jessie.
Okay. And any closing thoughts this week? Anything you want to mention that you want to get off for our audience?
Well, the any closing thoughts that I would just like to give is I would really encourage everyone to try a fighting game at some point in their gaming lifestyle or whatever gaming that they're doing. You don't have to be all super intricate like I did. Like that's just the way I am. Like, but just for the fun aspect, it's really really fun to just get into something right away. And if you want to just give something new a shot, just to let off some steam or have fun with friends. If you're still going over friends' houses right now, pending everyone's situation, go over to a friend's house to play. Online capabilities are a lot better now, so I would say give a shot online as well. Um, and just have everyone just have fun with each other. And I also can't wait to hear everyone's memories about Xbox because me and Josh definitely have Xbox memories that we're going to be given at the time. Our favorite Xbox games we got into, and just something that started back in 2001 when Xbox came out, and it was the little system that competed with Nintendo and with Sony at the time. It was just adding its way on there, and it has grown to be something very huge for the future, all the way until today. So everyone's got a different story on Xbox, whether it's the newest generation or maybe someone around our age that maybe have been around since Xbox One days. Sorry, I have to rename it because I can't
Xbox
call it Xbox
OG.
One. I have to call it Xbox OG, and maybe
OG.
whoever I have to call the original Xbox or the one that came with the fat controller, the Duke. that was
The
a
Duke.
that was a that was a big old controller back then, man. I don't know what they were thinking about people's hand size. They thought everyone's hands were like Shaq-sized hands or something. Like to play with that Duke controller. That was a big one, man. Um, but everyone, have fun in whatever you're gaming. Let off your steam with whatever style you want to play or whatever things that you're doing, and um, keep gaming on, everybody. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Same sentiments on my side. Try a fighting game. You might find one that you like. There's so many out there. Um, you like me. I just have chosen with Super Smash Brothers, and I've been playing since the first one. And fighting games can be great, especially if you have somebody else to play with and grow from. So with that, we leave you guys. Have a great week. We'll see you guys on the next week's podcast, all about Xbox. Like Jesse said, let us know your memories. We'd like to hear it because the winner will be announced on the show, and we'll just share what we have. So later, you guys.
Peace, everybody. Have a great day, afternoon, evening, anytime. Love everybody, and everyone have a great one.